Hello, today is Saturday, September 2nd, 2017. I'm Sharon Dingus, and I'm here to share with you another ray of light. I'm coming to you from Acres for Art and Enlightenment, home of AwakeningLight.net and Red Dog Creations Art Studio. Well, today is my first morning, or was my first morning in almost 3 months, waking up in Bakersfield, and it felt wonderful. It was so funny. I don't think I shared this last night during my post, but when I opened the door to the apartment, Mighty Maya came flying into the apartment. She was so excited to be here and raced around and around and around, ran into every room and barking. My guess, I might choke up a little bit during today's post, but my guess is that she could sense Liz's presence and had very fond memories of being here with Liz during the final months of Liz's life. And the other thing is Maya loved Liz's two cats, Petey and Emma, and I used to drive Liz nuts by calling Emma Ems and Petey Peter, just because I knew it would drive her crazy. So it was really funny, and Maya was very interesting. Petey, he was very shy. They're back at Heaven on Earth Pets, which is an amazing place in Los Angeles, which is the place that Liz adopted them from. So shameless plug for some amazing people who devote quite a bit of time to cat rescue specifically. Amazing folks. Would have loved to keep the cats, but they just don't fit the nomadic lifestyle. It just won't work, especially because of Petey. And he was, oh my gosh, Petey is an amazing cat. And very sweet, very super shy. And he would spend most of his time under Liz's bed, which was just adorable, until nighttime. Then he wanted to come up and he wanted to love up on you and all that, and he was just adorable. But Maya has been spending most of her time underneath the bed. So my guess is she can feel Liz's energy right from the bed. Liz loved her bed. If you knew Liz, you knew she loved her bed. That woman knew how to nest like nobody's business. And the cats love to be under the bed. And so Maya has turned that into her little fort, which is wonderful. But I've not seen Maya's eyes as bright in a long time. So she's very happy to be here. And I as well am extremely happy to be here. And when I first started these actually it started as recordings, audio recordings only, one of the topics I discussed was astrocartography. And what I found to be very interesting is that I have 4 planets, or celestial bodies, because one is the moon, that are very close to Bakersfield. Because when I first came here, I felt very drawn to the area, and it wasn't just because Liz was here and needed some pretty intense assistance during those last few months. I knew there was some other reason I'd been brought to Bakersfield. And so as I've been learning more about astrocartography, I thought, oh, look at all these things that are going on here in Bakersfield. And I shared this, one thing that was very interesting is that Bakersfield is a place, because it's actually my Venus, the planet Venus, I think it's ascending. I'll probably get that wrong since I don't have that information in front of me. But anyhow, Venus has a strong presence in the area, as does the moon, as do two other planets. And the cool thing about the Venus in particular, which is dominating the Bakersfield area, at least in my birth chart, my natal chart, astrologically, is it's all about home, making home and feeling comfortable, a great place to set down roots, to have support of friends and family and loved ones, and definitely have some family in the area now, just south of here. Definite family. My family continues to grow by virtue of Liz. And when I got up this morning, so last night I had unloaded the sow to the greatest extent that I physically could, and I knew I needed to do this recording. But then this morning I got up and I did some more unloading. So the sow, I have miscellaneous items, but all the heavy stuff is out of the sow. Thank goodness. I still have a little bit in the pickup truck, in the back, but essentially things are getting back to normal. What was so fun to me though is I'm like, oh, I feel like nesting and decorating, and I had taken it sounds inconsequential, but I have my shower curtain that I had at my place in Minneapolis, which is a beautiful shower curtain. So with all due respect to Liz's taste in decorating, I took down her shower curtain and put up my shower curtain. And that's what's so interesting is, so I'm going to pull up this card in today's tarot spread. It's the Two of Cups, and it's upside down. And as I was explaining to a friend on Facebook this morning who had commented on one of the photos when I said, hey, I'm home, she was asking the question about that. It's like, yep, this was Liz's home. It became our home, and now it's my home. So as I look at this, it's that transition. And if you've ever lost anybody, that could be divorce, it could be your kids moving out, you might be an empty nester, right? Things change. I don't have that experience, but people in my age group have been going through empty nester, personal transformation, right? Who am I now that I'm not a parent? And if you've lost someone who is a partner, a soulmate, a spouse, whoever that is, someone who's that close, and that transition is, everyone mourns in their own way. But one of the things that I've sought to do is not create shrines, as tempting as that might be, right? So I have areas of the apartment where I have a ton of photos of Liz. I have photos of Liz and me from times when I didn't know her, when she was young and super vital, and as well as when she was older. And that's important to me. But as I seek to go forward here there are definitely aspects. My gosh, this was Liz's home for 3 years, and it was funny when I started taking care of her I looked at different things. I'm like, oh my God, I remember that lamp. We had that lamp you had that lamp when you lived by yourself in Fort Wayne. Then when you came down to Georgia with me, that moved with you. Then we moved that up to Minneapolis. And so there are a number of things where it's like, oh my God, that used to be in my home, the home that I shared with her. And once again, it is. So there's a huge comfort, right? But there are other aspects where, okay, I need to make this place Sharon's place. And certainly hanging on to quite a bit of Liz, but it's the Liz that either A, for sentimental reasons, or B, because it fits who I am. And that's such an interesting aspect. When, again, I take a look at the Two of Cup cards, it's like, well, yep, that's who we were. And now moving forward, who's the new me as I've been changed by this very transformational experience, right? So this guy, this Four of Swords, it's kind of funny. It's the only, well, we have 1 1/4, and I'll explain the quarter momentarily. Swords in today's spread. And it's funny because last night's when I pulled the spread, or yesterday morning when I pulled the spread, but then talked about it last night, there were 3 swords. So I related my story about twirling the saber in the color guard. And in spite of these daggers, this beautiful little lamb has the self-confidence and the calm to know that this storm shall be weathered, right? So as things get tumultuous, you work through them. You go through them, you accept them, you take whatever the emotions are going to take, and that's been such an interesting thing. I had expected, and who knows, this might be the calm before the storm, right? But I don't think so. I'm a different person now, 3 months later, from when I left here. And the emotions are different than I expected them to be, and we'll see where they go. But what's really a fun card as I look at this is this guy right here. This is the Magician. I'm going to pull this up a little further so you can see the Magician. And if you'll notice, all 4 suits, if you will. So it represents the entire deck. So number 1, the Magician is part of the major arcana. It's not a member of any suit. but it represents, you've got the sword, you have the pentacles, you have the cup, you have the wand. So it's all four. And if you look real carefully at the little guy's chest, that's the infinity symbol. And this burst of light behind the head of this, whether it's a cheetah or a leopard or whatever cat this happens to be, is the magician has the ability to create and is a master manifester. And that's what's very interesting to me, is going back to my astrocartography, when I took a look at Venus and what it represented in the Bakersfield area. This is a beautiful location, a powerful location for me as someone who chooses to create as an artist, whether that art is with my glass, as well as these videos. And one of the things I'll be doing as I'm here is expanding the videos and offerings to, I want to be able to do more from a teaching modality, right, and go into greater depth. I do have to make an income. So one of the things that I'll be working on is what would be topics that people would be willing to contribute a modest amount to. So that's part of what I need to do, is be able to be this master manifester, just like this magician, and bring this to life. And what is so very important to me is giving. I am fulfilled by giving. And being able to do these daily posts mean quite a bit. And even though I've been talking about things that I've been experiencing, I suspect, at least certainly along the way, people have indicated, I've been going through that, or by the way, when I went through that, or that reminds me of this or that or the other thing, which is very exciting, is being able to keep up these daily videos, but then also expand into other areas. That, it's funny, for years I was a frustrated teacher. Early on in my life, I taught classmates when I was in grade school, and then in high school, and then after getting my degree I did some teaching, and while I was getting my degree I did some teaching. But I always was this frustrated teacher, as in my career, every time I tried to get into teaching, it just didn't work. So guess what, guys, you're my guinea pigs, right? So we'll be walking that path. But what's so cool is I'm home. I really am home. It felt like I was home last night. And after I attended to some odds and ends that I needed to, went into the apartment office and said, hey, I'm back. That camper's out there. It'll be here. It'll be gone before you redo the surface of the parking lot in another week and a half. Oh, by the way, should it really only get down to 78 degrees here in the apartment? It's kind of warm. And the answer to that question was no. So they put 1.5 pounds of refrigerant in the condensing, or into the refrigeration system of my HVAC unit. So clearly it was a wee bit undercharged. Slow leak. As long as I can continue to remain cool, that will be great. And just say hello to folks. But what was so exciting to me is there's a great store, and I'm going really long today, so I apologize, is a wonderful store called Sprouts. And it's a combination, it's almost as if Trader Joe's and I'm going to forget the other one, Whole Foods. There we go, Whole Paycheck, as a lot of people say. If they had a baby, it's Sprouts. And right now I've only seen Sprouts in the southwest of the U.S., so Arizona, California, but they're fantastic. I was so excited to go there. And when you're in California, you bring your own shopping bags. There's no such thing as plastic bags. And so I have my shopping bags. I went into Sprouts. I got some juice. I got some fresh produce, not stuff that's been shipped across the country and picked off the trees before it's ripe. This was fresh produce. Super exciting. Got some items from the meat counter. Yes, I eat meat. I say a little prayer for the animals, but I do eat meat. But that was exciting. I've got a beautiful piece of meat in the crock pot right now, and I feel like I have my spark back. Even though it may seem as if I had not lost it, but that centering, that grounding that I had talked about, that spark is back. I'd have friends that say, so what have you been eating? What have you been? And I'm like, I don't know. I just eat when I eat. I'll have whatever it is. I'll have some chocolate covered almonds. I'll have some almonds. I'll have some cheese curds. I don't know. it was never a priority. But now that I'm here in this place that is, the astrocartography says it's a great place to make home, is in Bakersfield. Liz knew that. And that's one of the interesting things about all this, is that she knew. And for those of you who believe in the afterlife, part of what went on is her yanking me out of my comfort zone and out of a mundane career that no longer served me, and got me to a place that was vital. In fact, when I first came here in December, there were some things that needed to be done because she had been so ill. And the first thing that I wanted to do was to make this place as cheerful and as healthful as possible to facilitate the greatest level of peace and any healing that could come from the time that she had. I did not know that there was not a lot of time left, but that was so important, was to get her comfy and get her food and have beverages. And even though most of the time she ate none of it, it was so important to do that nesting and to make sure that life was as posh from a basic needs and comfort level as possible. So I think it's really, really cool that when I step back and reflect on everything that went on, I was right where I needed to be with Liz. And because of my giving of myself on her behalf, with the support of my team, of God, of friends, family, whatever that support team looked like, because it was certainly not me by myself. Dear heavens, I may have been the one during this last phase. Liz had help during her stage 3 from friends and family, and certainly Molly and others were here while we were tag teaming with Liz during this last phase. But I gave everything I had, and it came back, which is pretty freaking cool. So, excuse me. Right, that's that. Just letting it hang out, right, guys? But this is such a fantastic gift, and it's nice to be home and to have I won't say seclusion, because it's certainly not secluded, and there's some groups that I like to hang out with, and I'm looking forward to reconnecting with them and doing some volunteering here. I mentioned the Keepers of the Kern with the Kern River, and any number of organizations. So, but what it does do is it allows me to focus, and it gives me that energy around me that allows me to support myself from a food perspective, from an intake perspective. I'll be hanging up my TRX. I have to figure out where I'm putting the TRX, so I can do some body weight. I've got my fat tire bike here, so looking forward to doing some early morning riding, because I think it is, what is it right now? Oh, it's about 106 degrees outside, but it is a dry heat, and it does make a difference that it's dry heat, but it's still 106 degrees. So I think it's time that I bid you adieu, because I think I'm rambling at this point. Thank you for taking the time to watch. I send you blessings, love, and light as you go about your day today.